Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Yeah, good. How are you doing, guys?
Yeah,
Very well.
unbelievable. Now you're here.
Good to know.
Bit gutted that that hacker can't get here though, because obviously those details are old now. So
Yeah, it would have been good to know who it was.
Did you ever find out?
No. There was a lot of weird messages on my account by the time I got to it. Like they'd basically just gone through I don't know, as many accounts as they could, verified ones, just messaged like everybody. It was interesting actually, because there were some pretty like well-known people they'd messaged that had replied.
Really?
Yeah, so obviously they send out a message, which is the message I got, but it was super weird because I hadn't really clicked on anything and I still managed to get hacked. But they send out a message that to all these verified people that's like, you need to click this link, otherwise you're going to lose your blue tick, essentially. And yeah, there was a bunch of like really well-known people that responded, were kind of like, how do I know this is real? Obviously people freaking out that they might lose their verified status or whatever. So yeah, but there was just so many messages. So that took a while to clear up, but I don't know who it was.
Motherfuckers. So if they ever watch this or listen to this, we're going to find you.
Yeah, people, man, it's ridiculous, isn't it? But there we are. I got it back, thankfully.
Good. Well, good work. Congratulations on that. But the blue tick thing, like, is that, were you generally quite worried you're going to lose that? Because is that really important, or?
No, I mean, it doesn't really make much difference to me, but it's quite a big thing, I guess. Like it's not that it takes a while to get one, but it's just, you have to, I mean, it sounds ridiculous to say, but you're supposed to like be someone of importance to get a blue tick, which is pretty ridiculous. But yeah, like for them to have a blue tick account, I guess was a big thing. I don't know, man. But yeah, some people were quite concerned about it. Loads of people obviously not responding. And I still get messages every now and then now, like people have finally checked their messages or whatever, and they come back to me and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, sorry, I was hacked.
What's that? That's a likely story, Adam. Yes, of course you were.
Yeah, there we go. It's all fine now, but it's lucky though, because you read loads of horror stories. Like Instagram has just not, there's just no real service, I guess, no customer service. So if you ever have problems with your account, it's super difficult to get it sorted.
Okay.
So I got lucky in that I spoke to our label and they went through their like head sort of IT social media person who got in touch with Facebook, because obviously they own it. Yeah. And they sorted it out. But like you can send out all the kind of you click the link for help and you put your report in and stuff, but it doesn't really go anywhere, because I guess they've, it's so huge. How do you police something like that? But there's loads of stories of people that get hacked. They never get their accounts back, and Instagram never get involved or do anything about it, because I guess they just can't help everybody, and they have to like manually look into each one, I guess, just if it's real or not. So yeah, I was glad I got it sorted. Yeah,
it's good. Congratulations on getting that back. It's like, oh, Adam Jackson, buried tomorrow drummer. Yep, we better sort him out.
Yeah, something like that.
So anyway, Jamie has a nice little intro he wants to do, and then we're going to literally bombard the living shit out of you with questions. Is that okay?
Yes, of course. Absolutely.
Glorious.
Wonderful. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a real treat for you today. Today's guest is a member of a band who have helped... Try that again. I can't read my own handwriting. There we go. I see what I've done there. I wrote butt instead of bring. What a tit. Try that again. Take two. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a real treat for you today. Today's guest is a member of a band who've helped bring British metal music back into the limelight, and they are truly flying the flag of the metalcore genre. Most importantly, they're a band known for just simply being awesome dudes. And here to talk all about his life, his career, he's a man of many talents, including house renovator and doer-upper. But most importantly, he's the drummer from the mighty Bury Tomorrow. Welcome to USUK Chronicles, Mr. Adam Jackson.
Hello. That was quite a build-up, I'm not going to lie.
Well, we like to put you on the highest pedestal possible. And then, just keep you up there. But no, seriously, Adam, how has the last year been, dude?
Yeah, odd, I guess. Very, very unusual. Well, obviously for everybody. I mean, I suppose this is one of those situations where it's been weird for every single person, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
But yeah, particularly for me, particularly for us, for very, very obvious reasons. Yeah, I think for me, I've been trying to find the positives in it. And I think, not everyone in the band would necessarily agree, but me personally, I've just tried to use the time as a time to just have a break from having to tour, I suppose. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but we've done this for a long time. We've toured a lot. Across 10 years, it's been the sole kind of focus, I guess. So yeah, it's been, I guess it's frustrating that it has to come in a year where you can't do anything else anyway, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
in an ideal world, you get to that stage as a band where you're like, you know what, we're going to take a year out just because we can. We're gonna just chill. And I know some bands have done it, not that many of our size, because touring is absolutely crucial to making any money in the industry. But it would have been nice to just do it on our terms a little bit. But it's been obviously tinged with the fact that yes, I'm home, but can't really be doing much else anyway. But yeah, it's been okay. The longer it goes on, the more frustrating it is from a release perspective. Obviously, Cannibal did great, but the fact that we haven't toured it and we're now, facing like an entire kind of cycle, a touring cycle out, puts us in a tricky position as to what we do next. So the longer it goes on, the more frustrating it is. But yeah, I don't know. I try and be a positive person, so I'm just using my time wisely, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first lockdown was probably easier, as people say, because obviously it's the summertime. Whereas this time around, it's been freezing, raining, and no one can really go out in the gardens, no one can really go out anywhere. So I think the weather's had a massive impact on lockdowns and stuff, especially this time around. But have you managed to teach yourself or learn anything new away from drumming, music, or anything at all during this last year?
I don't know about anything new particularly, but obviously you guys have touched on the whole house thing. Myself and my fiance are renovating our second house together. We did it with our first one that we bought a few years ago, so we kind of had some experience there. But we had quite a stressful time. I guess, to be fair, this was kind of the focus of the first lockdown we had, in that we'd had an offer accepted on this house in the January of last year.
Yeah.
Should have been fairly straightforward. It was a probate sale, so obviously that the property was vacant. Everything was lined up. We were selling our own one, but basically we had an absolute nightmare. I mean, it drags on and on and on for months. We ended up selling our house without being able to move into this one.
Shit.
We moved in with her grandparents for months while we were waiting for it to go through, because we were at the point where we either did something or we lost the people buying our house. So yeah, like last year was really, really stressful on that front for me. So I guess it was almost, I don't know whether it was good to not have the band thing to really focus on touring wise, or whether if I'd have been going away, it would have been good to take my mind off of it. But at the same time, I was kind of grateful because there was so much stress in it that actually me leaving, her to kind of deal with stuff would have been pretty rubbish. So yeah, we had an absolute nightmare. We ended up moving in December, and we've basically just been renovated sort of ever since. But yeah, it took
almost a year,
a long time. Yeah, it was awful, to be honest.
Dude.
But yeah, we got there in the end. So we've just been trying to sort it out, really. But it's been good. As I said, we've kind of done it before, but this is a slightly bigger scale. But Yeah, I'm not an expert by any means. I get the trades in where appropriate, but I try and get my hands dirty.
Yeah,
with
fair
it.
play. So you
I'm good
enjoy
at ripping things out. That's about it.
I could destroy things. I cannot put new things up.
Exactly that. Yeah, for sure.
I saw your conquer of the stairs with the ladder.
Yeah, man.
Did
Yeah,
you manage to finish that?
yeah. So we got it stripped and it's now been plastered, but I've got to get up there to paint it, which I'm trying to think about the best way to do that. It wasn't too bad to strip it, but I'm trying to figure out how I can get the paint up there.
Some sort of pulley
I'll
system.
get there at some stage.
There's some Home Alone sort of pulley system there.
Yeah, honestly, the thing is, we got, obviously I stripped it and then we got our plasterer in, who's a guy that we know fairly well from our previous project, and he just set up some, not remotely safe ladder concoction thing with a wooden plank, and then he was on a little like plastic box as well, just plastering away. So I guess even the pros just have to wing it. So I'm gonna have to find some sort of way of doing it. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to it.
I wish you all the best. I wish you all the best, sir.
Wonderful. So before we talk about drumming and whatnot, how is it you got into the genre of music that you play?
I guess it starts for most people, I suppose, as listening to obviously lighter stuff, and it's just a progression, really. I guess some kids, their parents might be into some, heavy metal or something, so maybe they're exposed to it at a young age, but that wasn't really me. I just came into it from seeing bands on TV. I mean, the stuff that would be on music channels back in the day. I guess Linkin Park was as heavy as it got, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
Blink 182, that kind of thing, just bands, I suppose. People playing instruments, and just it went from there. It was a real progression, I think. I guess it was just it was something that resonated with me, when I started to listen to, slightly heavier and heavier music. I remember coming across Funeral for a Friend back in the day, and actually it was too heavy for me at the time. I was like, I really like the singing part, but I don't really get the heavy side, but there was something there, I guess. And yeah, just the more I listened to it, the more it became a thing. And it was just around the time that we were kind of myself and my friends at school were sort of just getting a real interest in music and just bands and what bands did, and imagine being in a band, and just, I don't know, it was just like everything about it. It was weird for me. I kind of came into heavy music with the fascination with almost being in a band at the same time. It's almost been like a package deal for me in some ways. But yeah, just a progression. Listening to bands, as I said, coming across bands that were slightly heavier, but maybe I dug some of the music, and then just the rest of the parts growing on me. And it really went from there. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a band called The Bled. Quite an old school band. They don't really exist anymore. I think they might be coming back, but I remember I bought their record Pass the Flask, and they don't sing at all. I liked the music, but I wasn't quite there with the screaming stuff, but I just bought it anyway and just sort of listened to it, and it all just it grew on me, really. But I suppose that's where my tastes are very varied, and I've always liked the bands that really mixed up the heavy and the melody, I suppose. And that's obviously where the idea for BT came, really, and it's just been progressing ever since.
Nice. So have you always played drums, or was it did you want to do other things? Did you want to play other instruments, or was it always drums for you?
No, so I did some guitar lessons when I was really young, before I was really into music. And then literally the drums thing this is what I mean as far as being in a band goes. We started having conversations with my friends about forming a band, and we sort of, everyone got their roles, and I'd always kind of, liked the idea of playing drums in a band. And so, just got a kit, to start BT, essentially. Like there's no great backstory apart from let's form a band, who can do what. You've always got the guys that, oh yeah, I play guitar, and then you find a couple of those and you're like, well, who's going to play bass? And then you probably find some failed guitarist who's like, yeah, I'll just play bass, it's fine. And then, you end up with the next person is like, well, I don't play anything, so I'm going to be a vocalist. And then you have to find the drummer, because it's not really normally stupid enough to actually have to buy a kit and lug that around the next few years. So, but it always just appealed to me. Like, as I said, that, you know, watching bands on TV and getting into music, because I did, like, there was just something with the drummers that resonated with me. I found myself watching them and listening to what was going on with the drums. It was just something that came to me sort of naturally. And then, yeah, when I sat down and played a kit for like the first time, I'd been air drumming, you know, I don't know, for probably a couple of years, and I semi knew what I was doing to a degree. And yeah, we literally started BT on that premise. It was incredible. Super basic. So the fact we've plugged our way through to where we are is hilarious. Obviously, at the time, the other guys weren't in the band. It was just me and the guys from school. You know, the majority of which I'm still really, really good friends with now. It was just started as something, and yeah, obviously for me, to get to where it's gone is funny. But equally with the other guys, you know, even Dorse now has been in it for years, but before Dorse, the other guys have been doing it for so long. So yeah, it's just it's amazing, really, when you think about what we've done off the back of that basic idea, you know.
Yeah. So you're not the only original member left.
Yeah, technically I am.
That's incredible.
So did you get lessons on drums, or was it literally just picked up a sticks and went, I can do this?
Yeah, no, I've never had a lesson.
That's insane.
I mean, you know, I've got so many bad habits, and you know, there's loads of rudiments I couldn't even play to you, but it was always part of playing drums, was always just part of being in a band. It's never been about being a drummer for me. Like, I'm not, you know, interested in being a drummer who's good. I'm just interested in being in a good band. And doing the best that I can with that. Really, I don't get too much out of playing drums by myself. It's the band thing is always just what I wanted to do it for. Yeah. And I guess, you know, as I said, when we started, it was like, okay, I'm going to get a drum kit to be in this band. It was never like, yeah, I've played drums for a couple of years, I'll join. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like that. I've never done drums by myself without this band. So I suppose it kind of makes sense when you think of it like that. But yeah, completely self-taught, just by ear. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you know, it's worked out, I guess. But, you know, I would have like to have learned you know, some better habits probably, but I just thought at the time, I'm not interested in sitting in a room with somebody who doesn't like heavy music and tell me how to play stuff that I'm not interested in playing. You know, I wanted to play drums, to play the music that I was into, and that's why I did it. But as I said, there's no doubt, you know, I've picked up some bad habits along the way, but I just I make it work for what we need to do, I suppose.
Well, exactly. I mean, you must be doing something right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, obviously, dude, I'm well aware I'm not, you know, the best drummer out there, let alone in, you know, in our scene. There's some absolutely incredible musicians that, you know, just blows my mind. And I don't know, sometimes you feel quite inadequate following some of the musicians that get on stage, but you know, so long as the songs are good, that's the main thing.
Yeah, you should never compare yourself, man. BT tunes. I mean, I'm going to get into it, but my days.
All right.
Is there a reason that you use natal kit, or like, is there a difference in sounds of the different kits that are made? I mean, is there, so like the natal kit you use, that specifically designed for metalcore sort of music, or is it just, does it not matter anyway?
I mean, generally when it comes to drums, man, there's just loads of different woods you can use, and generally the acceptance is that, you know, different woods are better for certain things. Like my current kit is just maple, which is a really like all-round solid option, especially for rock and heavier music. My first kit from them was walnut, which is slightly lighter, not traditionally for rock and metal, but it works. It's quite punchy. And then you've got, things like ash and birch, which are generally associated with like lighter types. But, it's much of a muchness, really. Maple is a really great all-round wood. You can play anything from jazz to metal on it, and it works. But yeah, my relationship with them is kind of just I'd played my first proper kit. My first really good kit was Tama. The first kit I ever got was some like Chinese import thing, typical like my first drum kit. You know it when you see it in like shop windows, and it was that. And I did what I could with it. I put decent heads on it and tried to get some good cymbals, and that was when we first started. And then when I had like my first proper job, I saved up and I got this really nice Tama Star Classic kit, which was wonderful, really nice. And then we played a load of shows on that. Did our first 2 albums on that, actually, Portraits and Union of Crowns. And then we were touring, we were doing a bunch of stuff. And I was looking for an endorsement, and I liked the idea of a custom drum kit at the time. So I went with a company called SJC, and they built me a kit. I still paid for it. I got a bit of a discount, but that was a really, really good kit. And then I'd been doing that for a bit, but I was really looking for the support of a company for like everything. So obviously, as you guys know, I'm sure you've got your drums part, and then you've got what's called the hardware. So, it stands, it's pedals, it's everything else. Obviously, cymbals and heads are separate. So I was looking for a company that was able to provide everything. Now, obviously, SJC just built drums. They didn't do the cymbal stands. They didn't do pedals. And I was looking for a bit of support because obviously if any of that stuff breaks when you're on tour, it's a pain in the ass and everything's expensive. So I hadn't really had that many offers, but I was looking around, and we happened to Dav hit me up because he was talking to Marshall about their bass company Eden, and Marshall own Natal. So he just hit me up as like, I'm speaking to Joel at Marshall, and he wants to know if you're interested in their drum company. And I was aware of them at the time because Matt from Don Broco is using it. Guys from Mallory Knox, they were starting to emerge, and I was like, I didn't really know anything about the company. But yeah, I spoke to George, the A&R guy, and just loved what he had to say. Like, George is super old school. A&R guys now, it's all emails, it's all internet. There's not much of a personal relationship, but he's really old school. We got on the phone, we had a conversation. The most important thing was he was like, we want to work with you, want to support you, get you a kit, hardware, whatever you want, come down to the Marshall warehouse and try our stuff. If you like it, great. If you don't, then fine, we'll move on. So yeah, got a really good vibe from him, went down, tried the stuff, and I really, really liked the kits. And obviously, for me, it's always, if somebody's willing to support me and give me that level of support, whatever you need, you can have it. It was amazing. And I was really impressed with the stuff. And what I really liked about it, because I don't know if you guys know, but drum stuff is just so expensive, and some of the brands, like, yes, it's great kits, but it's so overpriced. And what I liked about Natal was the quality of the stuff was really good, but I felt it was affordable. And I thought, if I'm going to work with a company and people are going to look at what I play and be like, oh, I wish I had one of those kits. I like the idea that it's affordable. I don't want to be sat behind a kit that costs $5-6 grand and some kid watching me couldn't ever afford one. That just seemed a bit silly to me. So I really liked that it was really good stuff and affordable. And yeah, I've been with them for years now. I'm on my second kit with them. The cymbal stands I got with my first kit are still the ones I use now. I haven't really gone through much. It stands up. I play pretty hard. Obviously, we play a lot of shows. It's great stuff, and it just feels good to, as I said, get behind something that's good people, but it's good kits, and like really affordable for a pro level kit. And I think that's probably the best thing about it, to be honest.
That's good. I apologize for my pronunciation. It's Natal, you say?
I believe it's Natal. Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Dude, you're not the first. You won't be the last.
So in my intro, I mentioned how you guys sort of like fly the flag for metalcore. And the reason I said that is because when I read somewhere that in the early days of the band, metalcore was a bit of a dirty word, but you guys were really adamant to fly that flag. What was it about the genre that you're so proud of to go, like, this isn't dirty, this is our thing, we love this?
Yeah, I think, dude, it just resonated with all of the guys like in the band at the time. It's the ability to be heavy and technical, but then be able to write like this enormous mainstream chorus. You know, it's those things that have attracted me to it. It's the mix of everything. And I just think you know, the bands that I listened to that could do that, it always just blew my mind. You know, to be able to be so heavy one minute and so beautifully melodic the next. I just always loved it. And all the guys in the band are exactly the same. And when we started, you know, we were coming out of the age of, I guess, you know, Killswitch, etc. And it wasn't particularly cool, especially in this country. Obviously, when we started, we were purely focused on what was happening in the UK and trying to establish ourselves here. And it just wasn't, like, nobody was doing this anymore. Nobody thought it was cool. We played on bills constantly with just like death metal bands where you couldn't read the logo. We were like, I don't know, like we felt we were, you know, a heavy-ish band, but honestly, the bills we played on, we may as well have been a pop act. And we said it so many times, and we had so many like moments backstage where we just felt super out of place and very self-conscious of the music. But yeah, like we just thought it was a cool genre, and ultimately that was the music we wanted to play. So we stuck with it, and I think we knew we had something. And yeah, we just stuck at it. But it was a dirty word for a while. I think to some people it still is. There's some people that, you know, and each to their own at the end of the day. This is people's opinions. We've got to respect it. But some people still don't get it. You know, if you're a heavy band, why are you singing? But we've just always loved the mix and just trying to write as good a songs as possible, you know. But yeah, I think now, I guess, you know, we've proven our point and established ourselves, and there's still not that many bands that are doing it. I feel like it's coming around a little bit more now. There's more and more younger bands who are doing that mix. It's been a few years since that's been the case. So I guess that's kind of cool. Maybe it is a bit cooler now. I don't know. But yeah, for a good few years, we really struggled with it, especially in this country.
To be fair, that's probably your influence, though. That's probably people hearing your band and going, "Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to do that."
Yeah, and I guess it's a weird thought, but yeah, I suppose we're at the stage where we probably have influenced plenty of people, but that, you know, that sort of thing just blows my mind, you know, the more I think about it. But yeah, I guess probably, I mean, you know, I know we have, because we get those kind of messages and we meet people all the time that are like, you know, huge influence on us. And I don't know, that's why I like having conversations with people at shows, because it just is very, very humbling when you have when you allow yourself to have those connections with people. So yes, it's important for me and for us, I think, to make sure we always keep that connection, because there's just nothing better than having those conversations with people that just absolutely love your music, whether you've inspired them to be in a band or whether they just love your music. I mean, that's, yeah, very few feelings like that in the world, in my opinion.
And I'm one of those people. I've seen you probably 4 times now. I own every album on vinyl and on CD. Quite a few signed as well. And I saw you guys at Slam Dunk in 2017 in Birmingham, when your set got cut short because of the sound issue.
Yeah, in the arena.
In the arena, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dude, we were raging.
No, I can. Yeah, I know because I met you afterwards.
Yeah. Honestly, like that was such a big opportunity for us. It's the only time we've ever played in an arena. Still, we've always had a great relationship with Slam Dunk. It's always some of the best shows we play. Birmingham's always been huge for us. So we were like, to get the opportunity to do that and be on that stage, we knew it was likely to be a really special show. And then when you have those kinds of things that are just completely out of your control. It's very, very disappointing, but there we go.
It's all right, but you're going to come back this year and fucking slay it. So
yeah, man, we're looking forward to it. We've had a bit of time away from Slam Dunk, which I think was important. We've played it a lot because we love it, and I guess they like having us play. But it was important for us to have some time away, and we're just looking forward to coming back and. Being so high up on the bill and stuff, it's really cool. We've gradually been working our way up that lineup over a number of years. So it's nice. You see that poster now. We're almost at the top.
Almost there. Yeah. Your time will come, sir. Your time will come.
I hope so.
Absolutely. So with the absolute anthems that you keep delivering on over a yearly basis, what is the process like with songwriting then, especially with drums? Is it a case of like the guys come in with guitar riffs and go, can you drum to this? Or is it a case of you all jamming together and just having a bash, see what happens, and then go, oh, this sounds pretty good?
No, unfortunately not now. It's more, digital age and all that. So it very much starts with Dorse and a guitar musical idea, and he will have programmed some drums to it. And then it goes from there, really. The song will probably go through numerous different versions. And obviously the drums start off just as kind of like a guide and just for the vibe that he's feeling. Because, the way Dorse writes, and the majority of songwriters, you'll find this, they have a picture in their head. So he's not only got this riff, the drums are probably not necessarily the exact beat, but it's kind of like snare placement and timing. Is it a thrashy beat? Is it like a two-step rhythm? Is it half time? Those are things that he's already seeing in his head. So when you tend to get the demo, it's kind of like he's got this picture. He probably even has some like vocal stuff in his head at the time, but it very much starts like that, just with a musical idea, and then we kind of get it to a point where everyone's happy in the sense of, the riffs are there, the drums are doing roughly what people think they should be doing at the time, and the structure's there. And then it kind of just comes down to me sort of, finessing the parts with fills and transitions that make sense to me, because, a guitarist programming drums sometimes doesn't make a lot of sense. Certainly in my head, there'll be things that come out and you're like, dude, you realize I haven't got 8 arms. And but it's classic, I think every drummer would resonate with that when it comes to guitarist program drum parts. But equally, like I've always really liked having that other input, because there's sometimes things that will happen where, I really dig what he's programmed drum wise, and I wouldn't have necessarily thought of it. Or it gives me an idea like, oh, that's really cool, but if I just did that as well, like that's even better. Do you know what I mean? And other times, there's stuff like I'm not really sure on that, and we'll come to a compromise. But it's quite a process, but it's generally like a digital process. That the days of us getting in a room and just jamming stuff, it's not really a thing anymore. Which I guess is a shame to a degree. Some of the funnest times are when you're attempting to write a song in a noisy practice room and no one's really got any clue what the other person's doing, but you think it sounds all right. But I think, doing it this way, it just means it's much more controlled. You can really actually hear what every element's doing, and you can get, demos that sound quite good with everything just being programmed like that. So certainly the last few albums we've kind of written in that way and got them to a point where we're generally happy with them. And then it goes from there. I mean, the last record, we did more pre-production on vocally than we have done before. So a lot of the time it'll just be music that we have going into the studio to actually track the record, and then the vocals, the guys obviously know roughly what they're going to do, but we as a band don't necessarily hear it. But with Cannibal, we did a bit more work to take those demos and go into the studio pre-production wise and work with our producer to kind of formalize them even more and lay down some demo ideas vocally that we could all kind of sit with. So with each album we've done, it's basically been like an evolution of care and attention and detail in the lead up to the recording, I suppose. And in some ways that probably whether everyone agrees that each of our records, they get better each time. For us, it's kind of the result is just the result of putting more into each album and having more resources for each album, more time maybe for each album, and I think you naturally get a slightly more cohesive product at the end of it.
Absolutely. I mean, every album is stronger than the last. It absolutely is. Just going from strength to strength with that. But did you ever think that you'd become one of the biggest UK powerhouses on the metalcore scene? Did you ever think that'd be the case?
No, of course not. No. As I said earlier, like I think we felt like we had something, and there's no doubt we wouldn't have put in everything that we have to this band if we didn't believe in it. We've gone hard with it for many, many years and put absolutely everything into it to the point of, having nothing more to put in. It hasn't been an easy ride for us. It's been a real slog. But yeah, when you're able to kind of sit back and take stock, that's kind of when I get my sort of renewed energy for it all, really, because when you do reflect on what we have achieved, and you kind of realize that you've done things that you're going to be able to talk about for years afterwards, when all this is said and done, like some of the stuff I've been able to do, the experiences, it's just not what the majority of people get to experience. I'm very aware that we're incredibly lucky. But it's not, just been handed to us. We've had to absolutely fight for everything, and we still are to stay where we are and to get bigger. It's tough. It's a very difficult industry. So I guess, when I touched on earlier about us having this time to not play shows, trying to use it as a chance to reset a little bit as much as possible, because it is very full on, and there's not really, every year is just the cycle of more stuff. You don't, if you're not playing shows, then it's probably because you're working on the new record, and we don't get a lot of chance to just sit back and rest, because you have to stay relevant. The sort of age it is, you've got to keep producing music, and we're at that stage again now. We can't necessarily keep waiting for shows to come back. Cannibal to some is old news now. The way people consume music, it's completely different. So we've got to think about what we do.
Yeah.
What you were saying there, like you're saying, you've had some hard times. When I was doing my research for the show, I was reading about some of the stuff, especially with R2 Records. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah. It seems like they completely try to fuck you.
I guess, with time now, it's easy to look back on it, and it was what it was. It was weird. It was what we thought was our real big shot at like becoming the band that we thought we could be. We did Portraits, like we knew we had something, and we knew that record was strong, and even for a first album, like I still feel like it's really good. And ultimately they saw that, and they really believed in it, and they thought we should be the next big thing. So they basically threw everything at us to give us that opportunity, and we went from doing very average things over here. Like obviously we were building a following, but we went from doing small shows over here to going out to the States and being on an enormous tour in front of 2,000 people every night, and that was big for us. And we 2010 we re-released Portraits, we went out, we did 3 US tours, came back, we were doing We did a big UK European tour. We had some fairly decent festivals, and it was really building. We were doing all the things that we saw, other big bands do, international touring, America, UK, Europe. We did Japan. We did a headliner that year. It was doing the things that proper bands do, I suppose. And then, when that fell apart, it was in such a way that it just really took the wind out of us, and we went from having kind of everything in some ways, certainly not financially, but we went from having a team with backing to having nothing and no way to release our second album that was basically ready to go. I mean, it was an extraordinary situation. I mean, I know there's some rumors and versions of it, and we've spoke about it a little bit for some interviews that we've done, but I think we try not to dwell on it too much. But essentially we flew out to America to record what became the Union of Crowns. I guess if we'd have done it in America, it might have even been called something different, and it would have sounded different, and who knows what would have happened. But we flew out to record it. We'd been touring on proper work visas out in the States. Like, it was all done super legit. Basically, we'd had some advice at the time that we could go out and record without renewing our visas, which had come to the end following the end of the touring cycle. And so because we were going out to record and we didn't have a US tour planned immediately after that, the management and label, it was a combined thing. They were our managers and label. They didn't want to renew the visas then, because we then have a period where we weren't making use of them. So they wanted to renew them at the point where we were about to go out on the tour, which, made sense. But they got some advice from the US embassy, which ended up being bad advice. We flew out. We went to get our connection. We were going to Ohio to record with Caleb Attack at the time, because we toured with them. Obviously became Beartooth. We were flying out to record with him, and we got to Toronto to make our connection to go to Ohio, and you do the US border there. And we were refused entry and put on a plane back home. And it was just bizarre. Like, everything was okay. Like, I kind of dealt with our manager at the time, who, as I said, was running the label. It was okay. They understood it wasn't our fault. We went out there, they told us to do it, and it was what it was. So we were sorting out going back home to do like an emergency visa appointment to come back. And there'd been like a little bit of tension as far as, they'd asked us about, kind of moving out there and what our plans were. And we'd pushed back on a couple of things. And, they wanted us to be the new Asking Alexandra, who obviously had made the move over to America and were absolutely blowing up. And we were like, well, we're a British band. We're not ready to move out to America just yet, blah, blah, blah. We want to do things our way. And, there's this kind of American metalcore bands are quite different from, us and the more European vibe that we had going on. And we didn't really want to sound that way. And there was a little bit of tension. And essentially there was just kind of like an argument, bit of a disagreement. And it escalated super quick. And they were just like, you know what, don't worry about it. The dude who kind of signs everything off just took something that was said really badly. I think Dav wasn't with us. Dav hadn't flown out with us to do the recording, and he had heard that we'd got rejected in Canada, and he was really frustrated because obviously we'd gone out there on their advice. And I think he posted a tweet or something at the time that was just like, I don't know, this is bullshit or something like that. And they took that it was directed solely at them, and they took it really personally. We basically got dropped just off the back of that, everything. So we had obviously they were our management, they were our label, and we also had a huge US agent through them, and it all just disappeared in the space of, I don't know, half an hour. So we didn't know. So we left Canada thinking we were flying home to sort out the visas to then come back. We landed and picked up on like emails and messages, and it was like, it's done. It was the weirdest thing, man. And as I said, it took the wind out of us. We went home and we had nothing. We weren't we weren't really big in the UK or anywhere else. As I said, we had this record written. We didn't have a label. We didn't have management. We had a UK agent. That was about it. We had no real financial backing to, record the album. It kind of just like everything just disappeared, and we didn't really know what to do. I tried to have a few conversations and shop us around and stuff, but it was kind of like, the momentum just got taken away, and we weren't in a position where we felt like we could take, a step back. We didn't have time. We needed to keep things moving. And yeah, essentially we just had a couple of shows booked in the UK, and we were like, because of the way it happened, the drama of it, the stress of it, everyone was pretty like over it, and we weren't a big band. So it was kind of like, well, that's that. Let's just maybe not bother anymore. And yeah, we had a couple of shows booked. One of them was Slam Dunk, and effectively we just went out and we'd decided to record one of the songs that we'd written, which became Lionheart, and we thought we'll just do it. Got in the studio with an old friend of ours, Mike, did a video as like a last throw of the dice once we'd kind of collected our thoughts, I guess, across a few months. And yeah, it all went mental, and we went out and did those shows, and the response was just ridiculous. And it was, one of those moments we were like, okay, there's a lot of people that care about this band. We'd be silly to not give it a go. So yeah, we started working with another manager at the time and started shopping ourselves around to different labels, basically with what we had that we were going to record before, and eventually got the deal with Nuclear Blast. But I mean, this is so many years ago. I think we actually went into the studio to do the Union of Crowns before we had that the album was being done. So we took a bit of a chance because we knew there was some strong interest from a couple of labels. We basically were shopping ourselves to labels while we were recording Union, and then ended up signing to Nuclear Blast for the release of it. So it was a bit of a hectic time, but again, we had this product, we had the songs, we felt like, we were pretty good. So why wouldn't people be interested? And then, exactly. Yeah, Union of Crowns came out, and I guess the rest is kind of history in that sense. We've never had, anything since then to really stop us. But yeah, it was an absolutely insane time. So
it's mad. It's amazing that you went out, did those shows, and the reception was that good. You were just like, no,
yeah,
we've got to keep going, and that's so cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, man. I mean, Lionheart came out so well. I still rate that song now. I think it was a real moment. It resonated with people for whatever reason. And yeah, it's, when you go out and you play shows to hundreds of people in a room, if they hadn't come to see us necessarily, particularly being a festival, like if you get the response that we did, it was hard to not be like, okay, I think, let's just try one more time. Because the thing is as well, like, you got to understand, we were putting in years of effort before we even did Portraits. Like, this wasn't, to get to the point to do your first album it's a lot of effort. It's a lot of slogging up and down the country, sleeping absolutely anywhere. So, we'd put in the hours to the point where, if we don't have support anymore, we're a bit over it, It's a lot went into that. So we weren't, it sounds silly for us to say we weren't exactly fresh at the time, but we put a few miles on the clock before we even did Portrait. So, and then to tour that record and everything we went through with the States, it was just, we were very jaded even then by the situation. I think we've been, fighting our way back ever since then. I think we've always been slightly jaded by just the industry in general. We've never really been in an industry band or a band's band. We very much do it for ourselves and the people that like our music, but yeah, it's just, it's weird when you talk about like everything that's gone on with our band. Like it's crazy, really crazy.
I remember when Lionheart came on, I think it might have been Kerrang. I think it was Kerrang. I remember I was just walking out of the room and I was like, wait a second, what is this? And that, and then I think I played it over and over, and I couldn't stop listening to it. I just could not stop listening to it. It was absolutely glorious. That was it for me. I mean, I saw you in 2010 at Sonosphere, I believe it was. You played on the Strongbow stage.
Yeah, it was a big show for us.
And was like, holy ass, boys! Who the hell are these guys? Like, this is incredible.
Yeah,
and so Portraits. But yeah, when you released Lionheart, sold, done. That was it. I'll just follow you forever.
Yeah, man. It's funny that Sonosphere show was a moment for us as well, because as I touched on before, like before we went out to America, like I remember it vividly. We played a show at a venue in Bournemouth at the end of 2009. It was a headline show. I mean, it was 100 cap room, maybe sold out, I guess. Absolute shitter, fun, but we were nothing. And we were on the way back from that show, and we were finalizing the deal with Archery. And I was in like a conversation with the head of the management company and our new or proposed new agent, and they were throwing around ideas for what the first tour was going to be. And obviously we got confirmed for that Attack run, which at the time was just an absolutely massive tour. And when we went out to do that, like we'd gone from playing that kind of 100 cap show to playing, as I said, to like 1,000, 2,000 people a night. And we had to get better and look better very quickly. We'd done a lot of shows, but it's that step up in level. And I think we did that tour, a UK and European run with Alessana, Scarlet Drive, and Emma Rosa, which was also a really big tour at the time over here and especially in Europe. And then one or two other things before doing that Sonosphere show. And there was just so many people who, obviously we've been out of the country so much, they hadn't seen us. We hadn't been around the UK that much. There were so many people that saw us at Sonosphere were like, what in God's name has happened here? Like, it was it was almost like the coming of age in a way. I guess we've we've obviously progressed and done our own thing, but it was, I can just imagine the difference between those who'd seen us, maybe towards the end of 2009 and they hadn't caught us until that Sonosphere show. It was quite a big step up. So we still have quite a few people that the Sonosphere time was the first time they saw us, and they haven't gone anywhere since. So it was a good show. I remember it.
Was that your first big festival?
Yes, it was. Yeah. I think. I remember we actually walked around Sonosphere flyering for our set because we weren't totally sure that anyone was going to turn up. I mean, I still get that now, to be honest. If we got a headline show and we got a pre-sale, then I'm okay. But with festival sets, you never know who's going to actually turn up to see you. So, we had some flyers made and we were, handing around doing it DIY. It was the first proper time we got to play a UK festival. I think like that was the other thing for our band. Like we'd watched kind of everybody else, like peers wise, who they'd already done a festival by then. Like, they'd maybe done the smaller stage at Download or whatever. And we just never really got those opportunities in the UK. And yeah, it was only kind of off the back of everything else that we were doing that we got a shot on that stage, I suppose.
Amazing. Do you remember like going out and seeing that crowd for the first time? Because obviously festivals are a completely different beast.
Yeah, I do. As I said, we were very unsure anyone was going to turn up. We were really nervous, like side stage. I remember it was like, because obviously it was a tent, the side stage was outside. And I just remember I'd been up on stage and we changed over and I'd set up. And obviously it's classic festival changeover where nobody's there. I'm setting up my kit and I'm having a quick look out like, bloody hell, there's nobody here. Check the kit, whatever. Walk off and all the guys are there hanging out, and Dan's doing his classic Dan thing where he's just kind of like, nervously peeking around the curtain every now and then just to see what's going on. We were just about to walk on and he had a final look out the curtain. He turned around and he was like, guys, there's so many people out there. What? Are you joking? I was like, no, it's packed. I was like, fuck, okay, let's go. And then, we just went out. Obviously, we did our thing, having done so many shows in the lead up to it. We were, super on it at the time for what we were. It was just a wild show, good memories.
That's amazing. Do you have any particular songs that you enjoy playing live?
The songs that I enjoy playing live generally are the songs that are, get the biggest response, I guess. So, in the last couple of years, I've loved playing Black Flame because it just always is such a massive moment. Particularly like just for me in the chorus, it's like the simplest thing I could ever play. It's just like single kicks, really powerful, but everybody's singing along, and it just is a chance for me to actually really appreciate what's going on, because I generally have to concentrate quite hard, with some of the stuff I'm playing, like, what's this rhythm, blah, 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 both feet are going. So you don't get that many moments to kind of sit back and just look out and appreciate. And, I'm playing something that I basically couldn't get wrong, even if I tried, which is nice. Black Flame. Black Flame is one of those songs. I really, really enjoy playing that one.
Anthemic.
It is. It's a tune. Age is another one that's really good. And I know there'll be plenty of Cannibal, which I'll love to play once I get the chance to actually do it. We did play. The only song we've played off of Cannibal live is the song Cannibal, which we played once on our last show, which was in Tenerife, February of last year. We flew out there and did a one-off show.
Wow.
Just because. We dropped Cannibal not that long before and thought we'd give it a go live. So we played that for the one and only time out there, and that was really, really fun to play. So I was genuinely really looking forward to playing that. Obviously that song had also been received quite well, so I thought it would have been a fun one. I guess the time will come with that one.
I'm sure it will be, but may I please play Gods and Machines on the in the new tour in the end of this, providing it all goes ahead, obviously the end of this year. I'm going to the Bristol show and I cannot fucking wait.
Yeah, man, that's a fun song. A little bit more technical, so I'm not sure I'll have as much
you do your thing, Adam. That's all right.
Don't worry about me, so long as you guys are having a great time.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see. Look, we're a victim of our own success. We've got too many bangers. It's very hard to
every song. Yeah, I know.
Very hard to choose a set list. Honestly, these days it's just an absolute car crash trying to choose a set list. But there we are. That's what happens when you have 6 albums or whatever it is
of just glorious and utter beautiful fucking tunes.
Everyone's like, that's okay, just do 2.5 hour set, it's fine. And I'm like, no,
my arms will fall off.
Yeah, hour and 15, you are pushing it.
So how fun are music videos, or are you not a fan?
Yeah, I mean, they're okay. I think we've done a lot of them. They do get a little bit long. They're, with music videos, sometimes it can be quite hard to see what it's actually going to look like, when you're just doing your takes and playing the same song a million times over. And you always have to go super hard, because unless you go hard, it doesn't really look very good. Like, you can think you're really getting into it, and you watch it back, you're like, I look really bored. It's okay if you're doing a live show and you've got the lights and everyone's like, there's this production, it doesn't really matter. And obviously I don't I can't go too crazy while I play, because I want to play well. But in a music video, honestly, if you just play like normally, you watch it back and you're just like, yeah, this is not going to look good. So you have to go a little bit mental. It's tiring, but they can be good. I think we've been trying to mix it up a little bit and not just do the same thing, because with performance videos, it's very hard to do something different. They're kind of much for muchness, and again, we've done 6 albums, so how do you mix it up? So we've been trying to do that on and off the last couple of records, and do things slightly differently, not just have the band playing in some random location. It's the guys, fans have seen it all before. So, but generally, that's also what most people want to see. They just want to see the band playing. And sometimes you try and do something that's a bit more creative. The band aren't necessarily in it, and it doesn't go down as well. But yeah.
Yeah, because I can imagine lugging that kit up for an honourable rain up on that fucking mountain was fun.
Oh, dude, honestly, we we're working with Sitcom Soldiers, who we've worked with a bunch over the years, and we drove there, and we didn't really know exactly where the location was. Obviously, it's like some sort of national park-esque thing. So we got to a car park, and we didn't really know where the actual location for the video was. So we parked up, and we were waiting for them to arrive. And myself and Dan, they basically told us it was like at the top of the hill that we were kind of parked at. And we're looking up this hill. I mean, it's not really a hill so much as essentially a mountain. And myself and Dan started walking up to try and find where they're talking about. And I'm not joking. You get to the point where you're not able to walk up it. You're like crawling up it. Yeah. So like my hands are involved, me getting up this hill. And I'm like, how are we going to get up here? Like, we've got the van down there. And yeah, honestly, they were like, yeah, just, keep the revs really high. And our driver at the time, we'd hired a dude with his van. He was like, my van is not getting up there full of equipment. So Sitcom turned up in their van. We put a bunch of gear in the back of it, and they ragged their van up this hill. I mean, I'm pretty sure they damaged it irreparably. After the smell awful, but they got us up to the top, and then there was this lugging of stuff to the actual kind of set, which was just set off from like I guess it was a walk. So the whole time we're filming Honourable Rain, there's people like on walks walking, and sort of you could see out while you're trying to film a video, you could see these people just be like, because it was outside where it was, we couldn't. Your normal thing to do is you've just got a PA like blasting the record.
Yeah,
everyone just plays along to it, you get the vibe. But because of where it was, we couldn't do that. So we all had essentially just headphones. I had my in-ears in, but the guys just had headphones because they weren't all wearing in-ears at the time. So we were just jamming to the song in our ears. So with like a slightly muted drum kit, so like you put like pillows and stuff in, it's quieting down. So people walking past, there was no music, just these people like rocking out to nothing on the side of a hill. And people were like, stuff, and obviously they must have thought we were probably a bigger deal than we were at the time. But yeah, it was random, but because the location was so extreme, it ended up coming out at the time really, really well. But yeah, getting to that site, as you say, was a nightmare.
Yeah, it's a great video, but I imagine you have to like Yeah, I have to get the climbing equipment out here, guys. I don't know what we're going to do. Like, just getting like, those pitchfork things, start sticking them in.
Yeah, because obviously it was before, like, before the time of drones, and there wasn't the budget for like a big boom arm or whatever. So there's a couple of shots where it's filmed really far back, and I think with the beat, like, it zooms a bit into us, but they essentially with the camera climbed up the opposite mountain, the other side. So we're like waiting for like half an hour for them to hike up this mountain to then set up the camera just for this one particular shot. Yeah, it was like, it was pretty DIY. There wasn't huge budgets flying around, but the location made the video, so
it
became a really big song. So yeah, perfect.
That's amazing. I love that we've spoke to like 4 musicians now about music videos, and every single one of them has been like, "Oh, it's a fucking nightmare."
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, there's elements of them that are cool in the sense that certainly for, since Black Flame, where there's been, bigger budgets, there's part of it that's cool in a weird way for me, because you sit back and you're like, all these people are here like working to produce a video for our band. And then you like, you literally, on one hand, you're like, this is mad. There's like people everywhere. And on the other hand, you're just like, this is such a waste of money. There's literally a person here to do everything. There's the guy filming, the guy telling him what to film, the guy that's like, what's the time? There's the guy that gets the drinks. There's the makeup. There's the assistant of the makeup. There's just people that do stuff with the set. There's other people that seem to do nothing apart from just stand there. I mean, there's just crew everywhere. And as I said, on one hand, it's like, this is mad. There's people everywhere. Like, the budget's insane. And on the other hand, you're just like, we don't need half these people that are here. But apart from that, it's generally, they're long days, normally really cold, either in a some sort of studio or some weird location, and you're just hanging around to be told, yep, you're on. And then you've got to give your biggest performance when you've just been stood around for 2 hours and you're freezing cold. And it's like, please get a bit of a warm up or something. But yeah, you get used to it. We've done enough of them. They are what they are.
We've got some questions from fans who wanted to ask. Before we go into that, Tom, have you got anything else you wanted to ask?
Just want to say the house looks amazing. Like, the house looks absolutely amazing. I'm really enjoying those updates. I really felt for you when you're painting the wall green when you'd already put the new carpets in. Like,
we made a bit of a mess with something that I was doing, trying to hang curtains. So it we'd painted green, and then we got the carpets done, but then we needed to redo some of the green paint because I'd splashed some stuff on it, basically. So, but yeah, it's a big project, but it's starting to look good. Yeah.
Are you almost done, or you still got a bit to go?
I want to say halfway.
Fair play, man.
Kitchen's done, master bedroom's done, this room's kind of done, which is like the office space. Still got the bathroom to do, which is happening in 2-3 weeks.
Nice.
All of the living room downstairs, which is fairly big, so that's a fairly big project. So yeah, about half, and then we'll probably tackle the outside a little bit. But yeah, it's a nice house. We'll get it there.
It's beautiful. I look forward to the updates, man. I'm really thoroughly enjoying the updates as you're going. So
I was looking at it.
House account.
I was looking at it earlier, and I was thinking to myself, I saw the pictures of your old kitchen before you put it in. You're like, I don't know when this is from. It's probably older than me. I was like, you should see my kitchen.
Yeah,
it's older than that. like my kitchen literally looks like a bank safe. It's not
wow.
Yeah. As you can tell, we haven't been able to afford to do that yet.
It was like a time warp. Like, everything was in really good condition, but it was just super old. It just hadn't been touched in years. So yeah, just trying to bring it back to life.
You're doing a hell of a job, sir.
Right. Like I said, we've got some questions from fans. I'm part of the Download Festival group, and I seen if anyone there had any questions for you, and I had tons of responses.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah. So that's a lot of very excited people asking lots of different questions, but I didn't. If I'd written more down, they'd be here for most of the day. So I just selected some.
Okay.
So Ricky Derbyshire says, if you could play on anyone's kit from the past or present, who would it be and why?
Oh. That's a good question.
Just put you around the spot now, Adam. That's
Yeah. I must admit, I haven't I haven't ever really thought of whose kit I would love to play on. I guess I would actually, to be fair, I would really like to give Ben from Parkway Drive's kit a go when it's spinning upside down. So not his normal kit when it's stationary. I'd love to attempt to play it upside down because I thought that was absolutely insane. Obviously, it's been done before. I'm well aware before anyone points that out to me. But yeah, just that setup with all the fire going off. I mean, the kit's basically on fire when they were touring that production. I'd love to experience that because I bet it's absolutely wild, and fair play to him to be able to actually play some complex stuff upside down. That blows my mind.
Insane.
Yeah. When we did like Firewise, we've never had pyro live, but when we did the Man on Fire video, we had pyro and it was like 20, 30 feet behind me in woods when it was going off, because that was the safety thing at the time. And honestly, every time it went off, it was like, oh, that's really hot. But I actually don't know how bands do pyro on stage because genuinely, I mean, it sounds silly to say because you're right next to fire, but it's really hot. So I don't know. How do you play a drum kit that's surrounded in fire? It's warm enough with lights.
Well, did you lose all the back of your hair on the back of your head?
Yeah, it feel like it. Honestly, like, oh, Jesus Christ, that's hot. Oh.
My favorite band in the world is Kiss. So,
oh wow,
yeah. The stage show they put on, I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, it's insane. So hopefully we can have pyro live one day. I think that's on the bucket list.
So Ben Burke says, have you had any drum failures live that have just stuck with you?
There's one in particular that sticks with me from actually our time touring the States. It was a show in Seattle. It was on Miss May I's headline tour. So I think it was December 2010, I guess. It was a crazy show. So we were getting a mental response. So obviously when we were out there, we were, nobodies basically, impressing some people, fair enough, but it's not like everybody really knew our stuff. So a lot of the shows were kind of like, ooh, I dig this, but not like they know all the words, they're going mental. But the Seattle show was insane. People just losing their minds, obviously without knowing who we are, but they were having a good time. And this dude, there was loads of crowd surfers and there was no barrier or anything. And this guy he was crowd surfing, literally like he was surfing. He was going so fast, he flew for whatever reason off of the crowd and got propelled across the stage and just wiped out an entire side of my kit. I think it was my left side. So the dude just comes past. So I've got a kick drum on my right. I was only playing one at the time. And he basically takes out the entire left-hand side of me. So and the hi-hat's there. And I'm like, oh my God. And obviously you can't stop. So I'm just playing with this like hybrid kit. This dude's just in pieces next to me. One of the stands, he like sheared in half with his like shoulder. He just went completely through. It's unbelievable. And that stuck with me forever.
That's insane.
I mean, that's, I guess that's kind of cool when something that happens and yeah, it's difficult to play, but you're like, yeah, this show's so mental. My kit's disappearing. Other stuff, I remember a near miss I had that's not so cool, and it would have been a complete disaster. When we did the Stage Invasion tour a few years ago, I think it was in York, and literally with the last hit of I think it's a song For Us, actually. The last cymbal hit, it's some sort of roll, and I like shifted my weight and finished. And as I shifted my weight, my stool that I was sat on just sheared in half.
What the?
And I felt this like, what? I was like, oh, correcting myself, and then realized my stool was no longer attached to anything. And I got up and the seat was just in my hand. And I was like, this is insane. You guys are going to need to wait for me to try. Can I borrow someone's seat? I wasn't touring with a spare seat. So So I had to borrow one of the other band's seats. But I remember, and it stuck with me forever, if that had happened mid-song, I mean, it might have been one of the only times I've ever had to actually be like, guys, we're gonna have to stop the song. Just stop it. We'll have to restart. Like the stall was in 2 bits, and I almost ended up with something unwanted up my rear end. Because obviously drum seats are like, they're essentially a metal pole with a round thing on top. So that would have been fun.
Can imagine that story in A&E if you've gone in and people are like, I'm a drummer, I slipped. They're like, yeah,
exactly. Luckily nothing too catastrophic for the show. So long as the show can go on, that's the main thing.
Glyn Evans says, you've done some cover songs in the past. Are there any other songs you would like to put your spin on?
Not really.
That was such a case of I didn't want to do them cover songs.
No, not really. I don't think that's something we'll do again. We have we've turned them down quite a few times in our time. When we did Live in the Vida Loca, which is probably the one that a lot of people reference, it was kind of at the time where a lot of bands were doing that sort of thing. And I still, there's plenty of cover songs that, alternative heavy bands have done that I think are really cool, especially when you take a song that's not heavy and you make it heavy and that sort of thing. But it was quite a popular thing to do, and we did it. I think we did a pretty good job of it. It's a fair effort. But we were never we played it once live, I think at the Barfly in Camden many years ago, and kind of decided then that never again. And then we got the opportunity to do the Rock Sound cover thing and chose the Evanescence track, which, to be fair, I think we did a bloody good job of that song. And fair play to Jace for doing it vocally, because that's not an easy song to sing. But yeah, that was definitely we'll do it. I think it will be cool, but we're never going to play it live. So I must admit, there isn't really a song I think of and I wish we could do a cover of it. It's just not really something we massively enjoy. But yeah, those are probably the two we'll leave it at, I guess.
Yeah, the Ricky Martin song is a banger though. It's really fucking well done. It is well done.
And it was my first and probably last time actually recording a cowbell in the studio. I remember vividly doing that that part with it. It was quite satisfying at the time, but I don't think I'll ever do that again.
Andrew Whitwam says, what achievement are you most proud of from being in the band?
Oh, God. I mean, there's just been so many. As I said to you guys, it was never supposed to, get to where it has. So, there's so many moments where you're like, I don't think it gets any better than this. And I think it's always difficult for me to pick one. I think our band's had a series of what's felt like moments, when you're like, whoa, okay, something's happening. I think Download Main Stage was one. We'd done Reading and Leeds Main Stage, which was still to this day the most scared I'd ever been for a show in my life. It was before our time, man. We hadn't done anything that big. We'd played festivals, but on smaller stages. We were still we'd done a lot of shows, but I'd been to Reading as a fan, kind of when the band was in its very, very early stages, and I watched some of my favorite bands on that main stage. And I remember, looking at the scale of it, being like, imagine playing on a stage like that. And we'd gone nowhere close. And when I got told that we, effectively had an offer to play Reading and Leeds main stage, the thought of it just gave me anxiety. Never had it for a show before, and never since has the thought of playing a show made me instantly nervous. So the build up to it was quite something for me. And I was just so afraid of doing it. It was just the scale of it. It was everything. I don't know. It just felt weird. And I guess to a point as well, because it wasn't necessarily our crowd. So doing that, and then I remember when it came to do download main stage, it felt like, we obviously it was still big for us, but we've done this before. We were a bigger and better band than we were when we did Reading and Leeds. It was more our sort of thing. It felt like we belonged up there a little bit more, and I had a bit more confidence. And I particularly remember when I played Reading and Leeds main stage, I was like, head down and just don't mess up. Just try and do your best with it and just don't mess up. And when I did download, I remember vividly telling myself just to try and enjoy it a bit more, because I didn't really take anything in. And as I've kind of touched on before, it's all about experiences for me. And so I just remember playing download, being way more comfortable with it, and just kind of looking out to really appreciate like what was going on. And like I said it before, that how many people get the chance to play download main stage, so that was a big moment for us. And I guess I don't know that the headline shows we do, the bigger ones that we've done, when selling out Coco off the back of Runes was amazing, and then going on to sell out Forum, and then getting to headline like Manchester Academy, which is one of my favorite rooms. Never thought we'd get to do that. Roundhouse that we did off the back of the Black Flame tour. It's all just kind of surreal, really. So it's difficult for me to pick just like one, but we've had a few real kind of pinch yourself moments. There's some things when you've been a band doing what we've done, got to where we have, there's certain things that are kind of like, it's a given you're going to do those things in a way. Doesn't mean we appreciate them any less, but every now and then, you just get to a stage when you're at these selling out rooms where it's the floor's packed and it's big, and then you've got enormous balcony, and you just you have a moment of clarity where you're like, what is this? I've never taken a drum lesson in my life. What am I doing? It's wild. We've had so many. Just it's nice to do things like this, and as I said before, when you talk to people, as we do at merch, and I try and engage with people online and stuff, just to be able to reflect, because it does make you very grateful for the stuff that we have managed to achieve. Definitely.
I'm sure it's massively appreciated that you get in touch with your fans and stuff. So I'm sure they absolutely love it. It's just amazing. And I mean, the fact that I reached out to you and you were like, yeah, I'm down. It's just,
man. Yeah. I've never done one of these. So I thought,
have you not?
No.
Sorry about the high pitchness. I don't know where that came from.
Oh, that was great, wasn't it?
Oh, I mean, obviously, I'm just the drummer, so people don't normally want to. I'm joking, but
I was going to say,
I've never done one, so I thought it'd be nice to have a chat, see what happens.
I appreciate that, man.
Well, the last question we had, I wasn't going to ask this because it's so silly, but there was that many reaction things on Facebook to this question. I felt that I had to ask it because people clearly want to know.
Right.
Thomas Joseph says, how nice does Danny smell?
Wow.
Yep. Hard-hitting questions here.
I know, right?
Yeah, generally in public, very nice. I mean, I've lived with the guy, so as his moments, like everybody does when they live on a bus for 3 or 4 weeks at a time. But yes, generally smells wonderful, very well presented. Very nice man. Yeah, I recommend it. If you get a chance to have a sniff, then do it.
I couldn't have asked for a better answer to that, really.
What else can you say? No, Danny's great, as I'm sure you guys know. He's a very, very special person. So
absolutely, his safe space stuff he's doing on Instagram is absolutely amazing, and his work for the NHS as well. Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's he just put so much of himself into it. He's really found a bit of a calling, I suppose, is fair to say. Having had his own struggles, he's just found that it's, he can be of help to people. And, if
anything over the last year, I think everybody has realized how prevalent, issues with mental health are, and people who maybe didn't even realize they had issues before are coming to terms with that. And it helps him as well greatly to be able to kind of help other people. So it's something he's really passionate about, and I respect him immensely for giving the amount of time he does, completely free of charge. The safe space stuff he did on tour, like that's a lot. We don't get when you're on tour and you have a big show to play, you've played a big show the night before, you've got your downtime. Like, it's quite precious during the day just to chill and do random stuff. But the fact he kind of chose to set up those sessions, have to get up early to travel there, do them, and like just make it back for sound check and then play a show, it took up his entire day. So immense respect for him, for sure.
Definitely.
That's amazing. Wonderful. Right, before we get out of here, we like to play a quick little game with our guests. We call it the quick fire round. It's 6 questions, and you just answer them as quick as you can. Nice and simple.
Right.
Are you ready? I love how nervous people get when they hear the questions. Like, why the fuck am I nervous?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
The first hard-hitting question. Your favourite Muppet?
Animal.
Okay. Of course, drummer. Of course.
Made sense.
First concert you went to?
Wheatus.
I've seen Wheatus live. They're amazing.
How cool is that?
Very, actually, Adam. All right, very.
You want to know where my inspiration came from? I saw Wheatus and I was like, I can probably do it better than that. Let's give it a go. No, I'm joking. Teenage Dirtbag, man. What an enormous song. Amazing.
Huge.
Yeah.
Your favorite chocolate bar?
Ooh.
If there is one.
Yeah, difficult to pick just one. I really like a Boost.
Oh, what a great shout that is. Yes.
Your favorite cartoon when you were growing up?
Ooh, I used to really like Dexter.
Dexter's Lab was amazing. Yes.
Yeah, I was big into that.
If there was to be a movie about the band, who would play you?
I don't know. Somebody really uncool.
Oh, fuck off. What do you mean?
Oh, no.
It's what you want to be asked on a Sunday night, isn't it, really?
That's a big question. Big question.
Especially on the spot.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys got any suggestions for me?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, I mean, he's a little bit mental, but yeah, all right.
Should we take that?
I was thinking more, Brad Pitt, Tom Hardy, sort of, that vibe, but it's fine.
I'm so sorry. It's just the first that came into my head. It's just the first person that came. Tom Hardy, absolutely. He was definitely what I was going for.
Similarity is uncanny.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I wouldn't even know it was you two. I thought Tom had turned up.
You didn't say Adam at the bottom. I'd have no idea. Last one. A piece of advice you would give to a younger self.
Younger self. I don't know. I think just what I've done in that, find something that you're passionate about and just give it a really good bloody go, I guess. Just put your effort into something that you're passionate about, because I think, when that inevitably pays off, because I really believe if you work hard at something, you can achieve great things. So when it does pay off, it's just really satisfying. So yeah, I would just encourage myself to find something and work really hard to get to where you want to be. And I think, that's one of the best things about looking back on whatever it is we do, whether we do, nothing else past where we are now. I can sit back and, I ticked every box and more that I wanted to do. I've surpassed my expectations, done extraordinary things. I've got great life experiences. And ultimately, it puts me in a position where I can have these kinds of conversations with people, and be like, yeah, we've done some pretty crazy stuff that people don't normally get a chance to do. And I'm happy with that. So past this point, for me, everything is a bonus, really.
Adam, man, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. You and the boys of BT are just true heroes and true gentlemen, and keep fucking smashing out these albums, because just like I said, just getting stronger, and eventually that headline at Slam Dunk and download and everything else, it's coming. Your time is coming, sir.
Yeah, hopefully I'd like to think somebody can start mixing up the headliners at download at some stage.
Yeah,
well, you'd like to hope so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's I don't know, is it, I guess this is a whole other subject, but it's difficult. I get it. There's certain bands that constantly will sell the tickets that those festivals need to sell, but I would love it for somebody else to start coming through and get a chance. So we'll see. Maybe it is us. You never know. Well,
I mean, it should be. So, but I'll keep everything crossed.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Amazing. Quickly before we get out, where can people find you on the internet, the socials, and all that jazz?
So me, I'm at JackoBT on Twitter and Instagram. But yeah, make sure you just check out the band at Bury Tomorrow. It's the most important thing. But yeah, if you want some house renovation pictures and the odd picture of me drumming at some point in the future, then yeah, come check it out.
Incredible. Beautiful. Adam, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for doing this. And it has been amazing. It's awesome to hear we were your first podcast as well.
Yeah, no, it's been really good. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much, bro. We really, really appreciate it, and have a grandiose rest of Sunday evening. And I wish you all the best with the renovations.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Not at all, sir.
Thank you again, my friend.
No worries.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
See you.